We started off our morning by taking a bus from Venice to Pisa, where we saw the Leaning Tower of Pisa and had lunch. We were only in Pisa for about an hour, but we had fun trying to take some cool pictures of the Leaning Tower. And my picture was especially difficult because my finger was very broken and crooked. And then after that, we took a train from Pisa to Rome, where we spent the next 3 days. Our journey started off really well. We were in a really nice air-conditioned train that had outlets and everything we needed for the journey, but then the train broke down. So we were forced to get on another train that was already full, so we had no seats. We actually had to stand in between two cars for 3 hours, and it was really crowded and really hot. And so we were very thankful when we made it to our Airbnb in Rome and there was an air conditioner, because it's not actually common in Europe to have air conditioner. So here's footage of my husband airing out when we finally got there.
America, home of the AC!
Our Airbnb could not have been in a more perfect location. It was in the center of Rome, literally just a minute walk from the Trevi Fountain. We spent our first evening in Rome exploring the streets, and I was really excited to find out that Rome had an IKEA. I definitely put that on our itinerary on purpose. We're in IKEA.
That's exactly what I pictured going to Rome would be like.
IKEA in Rome. Oh, but that's it. It's really small.
When in Rome, you see things that splat and make squeaky noises.
What?
Whoa.
After climbing up to the top of the Spanish Steps, we walked over to the Pincio Terrace, which has a beautiful view of the Piazza del Popolo and of Rome itself from above. We climbed down to explore the Piazza del Popolo, and then from there we took one of their main streets called Via del Corso, and we did some shopping and walked around and listened and watched the entertainers. And I'm not gonna lie, some of them were pretty weird. Like this floating genie, and these weird puppet things that made money by making loud noises and scaring people on the street. I will say it was quite entertaining though. After dinner, we walked over to the Piazza della Rotonda, which is the square where the Pantheon is located. We were really tired from walking non-stop for the past few days, so we took a rest underneath the Pantheon and just soaked up all the really cool history that we were underneath. We are sitting in the Pantheon, taking a little break.
It's huge.
It really is.
Mega. It's a great place. during the reign of Augustus. It was completed by the Emperor Hadrian and probably dedicated about 126 AD. It's 142 feet high.
And Raphael is buried inside. I never want to get up now. We're at Piazza Navona eating gelato, as usual. Free entertainment right here. And a pretty fountain.
When in Rome.
I'm happy. We ended every single night in Rome by sitting next to the beautiful lit up Trevi Fountain and people watching. The next day we had an early lunch, which was actually one of our favorite meals in Rome, and then we headed off to explore the Vatican City. If you didn't know, the Vatican City is considered the smallest country in the world and is actually an example of a modern-day city-state. The Vatican City Museum is home to the world's largest art collection with over 9 miles of art. It was huge and loaded with so many incredible pieces of art, architecture, and history. We definitely had to use an audio guide to help us hit the highlights because we could have spent all day there. I wish I could explain each and every cool artifact I got to see, but I'll just explain some of my favorites. I got to see some of the most famous ancient statues of Greek and Roman sculpture. The Egypt exhibit was one of our favorites because you could see real papyrus, hieroglyphs, sarcophagi, and even mummies.
Created in the modern century, we have the AC unit. It blows refreshing cold air and is very good on a hot day in Rome. And this is by far my favorite monument I've seen so far. I mean, we have Amenhotep's tomb right here, sarcophagus. Doesn't compare. This is the spot. This is it.
So, like I said before, this museum is huge, but it seems like no matter where you are walking underneath the most beautiful ceiling you've ever seen. I loved looking up and just taking it all in and thinking about how much time and hard work would have went into painting and creating every single little detail that they put in their art on the ceiling. It was just so magnificent and mesmerizing. I was in awe the entire time. Something that was most definitely a highlight for me was getting to see Raphael's paintings in real life. Raphael is considered to be the greatest Renaissance painter. I grew up learning about Raphael and his paintings like the School of Athens shown to the left here. Actually getting to be in the rooms covered with these really famous paintings that were painted so long ago was pretty cool. One of my very favorite things that we did our entire 2 weeks in Europe was getting to see the Sistine Chapel. This was a bucket list item for me and it did not disappoint at all. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to video or take pictures, but I did find some on the internet that I'm using here. If you don't know what the Sistine Chapel is, it is a chapel in the Pope's residence that's known for the entire ceiling being painted by the famous Renaissance artist Michelangelo between 1508 and 1512. That means everything that you're seeing in this room only took the one man 4 years to paint. The Sistine Chapel is one of those places that everybody needs to see at least once in their lives. And no amount of photographs can prepare you for the experience of actually standing on the floor of the Sistine Chapel and looking up in person. It's mind-blowing how every single little detail in each of these paintings pieced together to make one big painting that tells a story. I could have stayed there forever in awe. It truly was a breathtaking experience. Next, we went into St. Peter's Basilica, which is actually the largest church in the world. It was designed in the Renaissance style, and it's so big I felt so tiny in there. Construction on the current basilica began in 1506 and was completed in 1629, which means it took 123 years. According to tradition, St. Peter, who was one of Jesus' apostles, was buried underneath the basilica, and many popes have been buried there because of that. It is home to Michelangelo's Pieta, which is a really famous sculpture that depicts Mary holding her son Jesus after he was crucified. Seeing this was also a huge highlight for us because this was another piece of famous art that we grew up learning about, and it was just really cool to be able to see it in person. Just got done with the Vatican and St. Peter's, and it was freaking awesome.
Amazing.
And the Sistine Chapel. And now we're sitting on the steps.
There's the obelisk. I think that's what it's called.
Just looking at the Vatican City. There's St. Peter's, Sistine, Pope's House. After leaving the Vatican City, we walked past Castel Sant'Angelo, which was a mausoleum of Emperor Hadrian and his family, where their tombs are located. It was built in 129 to 139 AD on the banks of the Tiber River, shown here. It was later used by the popes as a fortress and castle, and today it is a museum. It was once the tallest building in Rome. We had an early dinner with the view of Castel Sant'Angelo in the background.
Are you excited?
I am.
Are you really excited? How was the prosciutto?
It was really good.
Look at that. Pronounce it. How do you say it?
I don't even remember what you got.
What you got?
What I got? Carbonara?
There you go.
Spaghetti? Well, I was going to swallow a cute bird that jumped up there. Should we tell him?
Crap and go.
There's the culprit, I think. Maybe.
He's back for more.
That's him.
Round 2.
Admiring his own poop. Okay, bye. Oh! He just pooped on the chair. I just missed that. I just stopped recording. He just pooped on the chair. Oh no.
Nah, dude, I ain't sharing. Sorry.
Oh. I'm kind of nervous. After dinner, we just walked around some of the streets and we went to the Piazza Navona where we found some entertainment.
Cool.
Oh, he's gonna take away the chair.
Sit down.
Only for you and one, two, and one moment. 1, 2, 3.
So magnetic on the phone.
This is the the site where Julius Caesar was assassinated by the Senate on the Ides of March in 44 BC. It's really easy to overlook this historical site because it's not well marked and it's just kind of randomly in the city of Rome. We had done our research and planned to visit it the next day, but we accidentally stumbled upon it early. And now it is known as a cat haven where cats like to hang, so we're going to do a cat count. Walking at night, sing your song.
When the moon hits the sky like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
It's been whistling that all day. Sing from your diaphragm. Let's go.
O sole mio, Figaro.
Louder.
No, I don't want to go louder.
As usual, we ended the night by the Trevi Fountain, but this night we actually stayed out here for a really long time, like a few hours. We were out there until probably 2 in the morning. And then when we went back to our Airbnb, I forced my husband to watch the Lizzie McGuire movie with me. If you know, you know.
When the moon hits the sky like a big pizza pie, that's amore. Oh, pizza.
The next day we had an early lunch and then we went to the catacombs, which we actually were not allowed to record or take pictures in there, but I found this picture on the internet to give you an idea. It was very creepy.
So it's raining pretty bad right now.
We found ponchos in our Airbnb, so we're walking around like this.
Going on a trip, David's favorite city bus.
Here she is.
Waited my whole life.
The Colosseum was another bucket list item for us. If you don't know, the Colosseum was an amphitheater built around 70 AD where brutal games took place to entertain the Romans. The Colosseum hosted events such as criminals being killed by wild animals, staged naval battles, public executions, and the most popular of all, gladiator fights. It could hold up to 80,000 spectators and is what we model our amphitheaters after today. Here you can see the tunnels under the stage where animals in cages were held and the gladiators stood before being lifted onto the arena's floor. Next to the Colosseum is the Roman Forum and Palatine Hill, so we spent the next few hours exploring them. If you want to see more of my footage of the Roman Forum and Palatine Hill and hear all about the history of what you are looking at, I will link my more in-depth video on the Roman Forum and Palatine Hill in the description below. So in summary, the Roman Forum was a site located at the center of the ancient city of Rome and was considered the heart of Rome. It was the location of important religious, political, and social activities such as elections, public speeches, criminal trials, gladiator matches before the Colosseum was built, social gatherings, business dealings, public meetings, religious ceremonies, and the buying, selling, and trading of items. Historians believe people first began publicly meeting in the Forum around 500 BC when the Roman Republic was founded. It was home to many of the ancient city's most impressive temples and monuments. It may just look like pieces of old buildings now, but back then it was really magnificent. Today, the Roman Forum is one of the most famous tourist sites in the world. This is the view of the Roman Forum from Palatine Hill. Palatine Hill is one of the 7 famous hills of Rome, where Rome was founded over 3,000 years ago. It is where mighty emperors lived and built lavish palaces, such as this one. This is Domitian's Palace. It is a massive 3-part structure that takes up a large part of the hill. Shown here is Domitian's private stadium that he had built as part of his palace. The palace functioned as the official residence of the Roman emperors until 5 AD. From the other side of Palatine Hill, you can see Circus Maximus, which was a chariot racing stadium. After we left Palatine Hill, we passed the Colosseum one last time and walked to a nearby restaurant. We probably could have found a cheaper restaurant farther from the touristy area, but we were honestly so tired from the long day we could not walk a single step more, so we just picked something close by. This bruschetta appetizer plate was over $20, but it was delicious. After dinner, I honestly can't remember what we did. I didn't document anything else. We were so tired, we probably just went back to our Airbnb and went to bed early. But before we left the next morning, I wanted to show the Airbnb we had stayed in for our time in Rome. So here's that footage.
Place in Rome. We're leaving now, but it's not really good. So it looks like it's really cute. We had a really good stay here. It's really kind of cool. It's got a little kitchen area over here. And here's a view. There's a restaurant down there. And we're a minute away from the Trevi Fountain. And here's the bathroom.
Then we left Rome, we took a train to Pompeii and got to explore Pompeii, and then we went from there to stay in Positano for a few days, so make sure you watch those vlogs too.